Hello everyone, my name is Mallory Cohen, and today I'll be talking about lack of media objectivity in politics. So the problem that I will be addressing today is again lack of media objectivity in politics, and this is when the media takes a subjective view of candidates and they focus on more superficial aspects than the actual fact or message a politician is trying to get across. And it's a very important topic because it can have an effect on how voters view politicians, which then turns the fact that they can have a major effect on major political events like presidential elections. So beginning my research, I looked at 3 variables. 1, fashion, how a person dresses themselves or the style they choose to wear. Public speaking, how one talks to the public, their audience, or in a politician's case, their voters. And 3, self-presentation, how one presents themselves to the public or the image they project to the public. Along with these 3 variables, I'll also be talking about past research, how I developed my research question, research methods I used, those results from those research methods, and then lastly, the limitations and future research I feel should be looked at. So for my literature review, I chose these 3 variables because I feel that these are the 3 aspects of a female politician that are most criticized by the media. And beginning looking at fashion, female politicians their wardrobe are held to an unrealistic expectation. So Mansu in 2008 looked at Hillary Clinton's wardrobe in the 2008 election. She wore her signature pantsuits, and although this might have appeared to be appropriate for her, the media thought otherwise. They thought that her pantsuits were too masculine and they were unfashionable. But wearing any outfit that shows any sort of skin is seen as being too feminine and using her sexuality to gain voters and have an advantage over a male politician. So with pantsuits being too masculine, but outfits showing any sort of skin being too feminine and using their sexuality to gain voters, leaves female politicians to wonder what's left for them to wear. Along with fashion, public speaking is another aspect that is heavily criticized by the media. And Blee, Marola, Schrodel, and Gonzalez 2010 give an example of where Hillary Clinton talked to a woman of the public, showed some emotion, but was then heavily criticized by the media. So Hillary Clinton was in New Hampshire when she was falling behind in the polls to Barack Obama, when a woman of the public approached her and asked, "How do you get out the door every day? I mean, as a woman, I know how hard it is to get out the house and get ready." Clinton responded, choked up, "I just don't want to see us fall backward as a nation. I mean, this is very personal for me, not just political. I see what's happening, we have to reverse it. Some people think elections are a game, who's up or down. It's about our country, it's about our kids' future, it's about all of us out there together." When the media had heard of this comment, they were quick to criticize Clinton, and it became a hot topic among many news organizations. So with this criticism of Hillary Clinton's emotion, it leaves female politicians to wonder, how do they talk to the public without being scrutinized by the media for it? According to Manning 2006, in order for female politicians to be successful at political communication, they must stress their abilities while at the same time comply with domestic gender roles. So finally, self-presentation. This is an important aspect because the way one presents themselves to the public can have a major effect on the outcome of an election. So according to Blee, Marola, Schrodel, and Gonzalez 2010, gender stereotypes play a role in that. So they can be an advantage for female politicians or they can be a disadvantage. The advantages are that they're seen as warm, trustworthy, able to compromise, and they're more empathetic. But take a trait like competency, which is seen as a positive characteristic in male leaders, it's seen as a negative one in female leaders because they're seen as cold and emotionless. So based on all this research, I developed the research question, how can the media fairly portray gender differences in political candidates? And in order to answer this question, I looked at historical research, archival research, focus group results, and ethnography results. For my historical analysis, I looked at historical media criticisms of female politicians. For my archival research, I looked at media criticisms of Hillary Clinton's Giorgio Armani jacket. And for my focus group results, I looked at CBS's Frank Blitz's focus groups on YouTube, and I used a directed analysis, and I looked for comments that dealt with Hillary Clinton and her gender. And lastly, for my ethnography, I joined the Facebook group Pantsuit Nation, and I looked for posts that talked about any media bias. So for my historical results, I found 3 contemporary examples. The first was Hillary Clinton, and this was her black and pink pantsuit, and at her 2007 Senate address she wore this, and it had a lower neckline, and the media said that although there wasn't much cleavage, there was just enough that she should not have worn the outfit. And then for the next one, I used Michelle Obama, and she is known for her bare shoulders. Now, she wore a purple suit to her husband's first congressional address, and the media criticized that it was inappropriate for the occasion. And lastly, I used Sarah Palin. When she was running with John McCain in 2008, the RNC wanted to upgrade her look, as well as her family's, and they spent $150,000 on it, and the media was quick to criticize her for it as well. And they called it Wardrobe Gate and criticized that money should not have been spent on her wardrobe. Next, looking at my archival results, I found 2 common themes. The first was the credibility of Hillary Clinton. So the common theme of credibility rose when I saw that because she wore her $12,000 Armani jacket while talking about inequality at one of her victory speeches in April, it lost a lot of credibility for her inequality campaign. And then also authenticity was another common theme I found. Because of her outfit as well as the message she was trying to get across, they sent mixed signals and it came across as not being authentic. And when voters are listening to political candidates, they want to see someone who's authentic, and unfortunately they look for that in the style of the candidate. Next, looking at my focus group results, I found 2 common themes again. I found first the description of Hillary Clinton. The way in which the participants described her were all in a negative way. They all used negative adjectives. So some of the adjectives that were used were that she was a liar, she was corrupt, and she was a deceiver. And a lot of people also had very negative images of Clinton, which was the other common theme that I found. So some of the negative images people had of her were that she was a criminal and that she was untrustworthy, and someone even said that the only way I want to see Hillary as president in the White House is if her prison is on the guided tour. So here again we see that people view her as a criminal and they can't trust her. And even her experience in politics actually hurt her rather than help her. People brought up a lot that the tragedy of Benghazi and Hillary Clinton's knowledge of it portrayed her as someone who was untrustworthy and actually a criminal. So lastly, for my ethnography results, I found again 2 common themes. The first was anger, and I found a lot of posts that talked about the anger people had towards the media bias. So one of the examples they gave was that Hillary Clinton had a lot of news coverage of her email scandal, but Trump didn't have hardly any coverage about the lawsuit against Trump University, the child rape case against him, and the American businesses that went bankrupt because he didn't pay those people. So the second common theme I found was support. Now in this Facebook group, I found a lot of comments that showed support. So a lot of people would talk about negative experiences they had because of media bias, and people would comment showing support. A lot of people would post things like, "You rock, sister," or "You're not bitchy, you're effective," things like this. There was a lot of love and support in this group, but even though there was a lot of love and support, the anger posts, you can tell that people are still aware of the lack of media objectivity that is going on in our country and how they're still very angry about it, and something that really needs to change. So my limitations I have were, 1, my bias, looking at the different lack of media objectivity and the media criticisms of Hillary Clinton and past female politicians was really hard to read and to stay objective about. And then secondly, the lack of results I found in my archival research as well as my ethnography was a very big limitation because they weren't as detailed and thorough as I had liked them to be. And then looking at future research, I don't really think there's a new aspect of this topic that should be looked at or that I could find. I think that gender and lack of media objectivity is such a big and broad topic that so much information can be looked at. So in conclusion, this is a very important topic because, again, it can have a major effect on how people view candidates, and then it can have, again, an effect on big elections like the presidential election. And also moving forward, I believe that the media should look at politicians as just people and not by their gender in order to stay objective and not base them based on their gender. Thank you, and that is my presentation.
Oh God. Oh God. Girl, I was hitting it and then